Hello, my friend. Are you ready to have more clients? I'm your host, Debbie Shadid. I am a master at building businesses. I can help you get more clients with super simple strategies. Plus, I can help you with a mindset so you can overcome the drama and the doubt. So let's get started. All right, welcome to the podcast. Gosh, can you believe it is almost the end of the year? I know, time has gone so fast. I want to talk to you guys today about authentic selling. I have spent a lot of time in my career selling. In fact, really my whole lifetime has been sales. All of the jobs I've had, the businesses I've had have all involved sales. And by the way, for you guys, everything you do in life involves sales. Whether you think you are selling or not, you are. So I want to talk to you about figuring out how to create an authentic selling method. Let me start out by telling you that when I went to an all online business in 2017, I felt like I needed to be educated on sales, which is interesting because I had been doing sales my whole life. And in my magazine business, I had sold millions of dollars worth of ads. So I really actually already knew how to sell. But I told myself that online sales was going to be different. So I took classes, I signed up with coaches, and I really worked on practicing the script that was recommended to me by following the kind of sales conversation flow that other people had told me. What I can tell you from my own experience is that it really worked better for me once I was able to find my authentic way and actually stepped back into the way that I used to sell. I find that when I was being more truthful and more honest in the way that I showed up, not in the things that I said, but in the way that I showed up, my business grew, you guys. It actually allowed me to make so many sales so much faster. If you've been around very long, you already know that I had a webinar funnel that I started my business with, and I ran lots of ads, and I built an email list of over 5,000 people, and I had 800 consultation calls. So at this point, I've had more than that too. But those consultation calls I did mostly in the process that I learned from various sales coaches. And, the results that I got were good. I had a business that I built, but I didn't close as well as I could have, or maybe as well as I should have. So today, I want to talk to you about authentic selling. I have spent some time thinking about the 5 areas that each of you could investigate that will help you solve whatever sales discomfort that you have. So that's what we're going to talk about today. 5 areas that you can investigate and really look in to solve whatever the discomfort is in your sales process and for you to create your own signature authentic sales conversation plan. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk to you about is your offer. That's the number one thing that I want you to look at when you think about creating this authentic selling method. So your offer has to be a win for both of you guys. It has to be a win-win. You have to feel good about it, and it has to work for your client. You have to have designed your offer with the result, the transformation, whatever it is that you're providing, that has to be the way that you design your offer with a result that works. Okay, you guys? You have to understand your offer really well, and it has to be easy. It has to be simple, because the person that's learning about your offer, they have to understand very clearly what you are giving to them. When you have an offer that is a win for you, it also will give you the lifestyle that you want. I'll talk more about that, but your offer has to be one that you can provide, that you've got time to do, that fits your schedule, that doesn't leave you frazzled. Right? If you're going to create an offer that you love to sell, it's going to be one that works in your schedule, that fits your lifestyle, that supports what you want. It has to be well written. I love copy. Copy is so important. It has to be well written, and you have to be able to share it comfortably. You want to think through, does your offer need to include Voxer? Does it need to include email, Templates, that's something I did with Simple Business Success. I realized something that was really going to help people have much faster success was if I had templates that you guys could copy and paste and basically use. It would save you tons of time and help you be able to make faster progress. Maybe your person needs accountability. Whatever that is, if you guys are in the service-based business or you have a product, maybe it is something where they need to be able to follow along with the process, like you give them checklists. Think through what you need to have an offer that will be a win for your customer. You also need to know the transformation you provide, and you have to be able to speak it very clearly, articulate it very well. If you're a coach, you want to set up the number of sessions that they need. Okay, you guys? I want to make sure that you don't underestimate what it takes for you to get a transformation, whether that be with group coaching or private coaching. You've got to have enough time to get the transformation. So don't just pick a time like 12 weeks because that's what everybody else is doing, or 6 months because that's what everybody else is doing. I don't want you to oversell the amount of sessions, but I want you to know exactly what it's going to take and that you give enough time for somebody who's going to have a challenge potentially in getting the result. All right. So it's a win-win for you and for them. They actually get the result and you give them the time and the opportunity to get the result. Win-win. So here's the bottom line. If you believe in your offer, you will sell it. All right, number 2, let's talk about your ideal client. Your ideal client, when we talk about your niche, that's your ideal client or what you're going to sell. There's a person, there's an avatar in there. You have to have somebody that you can really relate to. And by the way, the person needs to be able to relate to you. You need to fully understand them and they need to fully understand you. Your person, this client, your ideal client, needs to feel like they can trust you. And honestly, that goes both ways. Like, I want to be able to trust my clients to do what I want them to do to get the success that I hope they'll have, right? You have to be approachable to your ideal client. So if you are not a physician and you're selling coaching to physicians, then you better have a background or you better have, kind of like a resume that fits that so that that physician can say, I really trust that person. You want to take yourself back to the place where they were so that you can relate to your ideal client, right? You want to be in their model. When we talk about the model, like what is your person thinking back then, your ideal client, so that you can understand them better. Here's the bottom line. If you know in your heart of hearts that you understand your person, you will connect with them and you'll be able to coach them. All right, number 3, you have to believe in your ability to deliver the service that you promised. Set your self-judgment aside. Let me ask you this question. Are you trained to coach on what you offer? Are you trained to deliver the service? Are you trained to deliver the product? Can you actually do what you're selling? Ask yourself this, you guys. Why are you lacking confidence in your ability? Really, your ability to deliver what you promised is probably something that you actually need to get coached on. If you think you can't do it and you've been through a certification, if you have been through a training, if you have had life experience and you know what you're doing, I'm going to bet that lack of confidence is what you need help with. It is probably not another certification that you need. It's probably not more practice that you need. It's probably not more free clients. It's probably not another workshop, another retreat. It's probably none of those things. What you probably need is some mindset work. I want to ask you, how are you going to measure success? If we think about your ability to deliver what you promised, what determines success? You need to know that, and you need to know how you're going to measure that. When you think about your ability to deliver, you can only do that if you have a plan in place of what your offer is. Like, what are you giving to the client? You have to prepare. You have to practice. You guys, I literally practice my workshops. You guys have been to a workshop this last week and you're going to one this coming week. I'm doing the planning workshop for 2022. It's a 2-hour workshop. I really want to invite you to join that. I'll leave the information and the link to that in the show notes. But I practice for that. I prepare, I plan, and I practice. So I know I have the ability to deliver what I'm promising you. You want to get your materials ready. You want to have pre-written emails that go out before each session and that go after each session. Get coached, really, you guys, to find out where this confidence issue is and solve it. Find those supporting thoughts. We know your thoughts, right? They create everything. Your thoughts create your results. So find those thoughts that you need to work on to improve your belief in what you have to deliver. So here's the bottom line. If you love your price, you guys are going to sell it. This is just how it works. I had a brief conversation with a new client who was selling something at $3,000. She came to me because she wasn't having very good success selling, and I asked her why she picked that price. And she picked that price because that's what she thought she should sell it at. And so I asked her, well, what price do you feel good about selling it at? And she said $2,000. And I said, well, okay, let's sell it for $2,000. If you sell something at a price that feels good to you guys, just trust me on this. Give it a try. You're going to find out that you will sell more because you'll feel good about what you're selling. Let me just briefly touch on marketing for just a minute. I want to make sure that your offer and what you say in your copy is all in alignment so that the messaging all the way is consistent. Just briefly, you guys, good marketing sells for you. Good marketing brings in the client who is ready to buy. Good marketing answers questions ahead of time. Good marketing qualifies and it disqualifies people. That's what you want to do, you guys. Good marketing copy brings people in who are ready to buy. All right, number 5, we're going to design a customized conversation, your own sales conversation. And we could have an entire, a whole day training on this, but let's just briefly talk about what that would look like. First of all, how long will your conversation calls, whether they be coffee chats, discovery calls, breakthrough calls, consultation calls, mini coaching sessions, there's so many names. You guys decide what feels best to you. I think this is an interesting first step. If you are having a breakthrough call and people have to apply to have a call with you, and that doesn't feel in alignment with you, and you would much rather say, I just want to have a get to know you session, then name it a get to know you session. Because that will be the first roadblock. You'll feel bad when they get on a call with you because you'll feel like, I told them it was a breakthrough call, and really all I want to do is get to know them. So make sure you have that lined up with what works for you. All right, so you want to decide how long the call is going to be because that does matter. When you create your conversation flow, your sales conversation flow, you have to be able to sort of figure out the timing. Like, I'm going to spend the first 10 minutes getting to know you. Then I'm going to spend 10 minutes finding out this. Then I'm going to spend 10 minutes on this. And let me just say, you want to make sure that your call includes enough time to close the sale and to answer objections and to close again, right? You want to have plenty of time. Let me tell you from firsthand experience, there's nothing worse than going all the way through a coaching call and then you've got 5 minutes left and they can't make a decision in 5 minutes. And chances are, you guys, you won't get them back on the phone or you won't get them back to another Zoom. So decide how long your call is going to be. Generally figure out kind of how the flow of the conversation is going to go. Decide if you want the client to provide you information before the call. If you have a call with me, you go to my Cuting scheduling calendar, you pick your time, and then you have to answer some questions. And I do that because I want to know what's happening for you. That gives me time to basically prepare myself. And that allows me to be authentic when I'm selling because I'm not like scrambling trying to come up with an answer. Now, I've done enough consultation calls that I actually know how to do all this, but when you're starting out, this is an important piece. So I would decide what you need to know prior to the call. Then you want to outline the call plan so that you next know what's going to happen. Like, what are you going to talk about? How are you going to start the call? What are you going to ask them as a starting point? Like that get to know you part. What are you going to share about yourself? That business one-liner is so important. What's that one line that you say about your product? The one-liner. You want to be able to say that. And then practice. Again, I practiced sales calls, you guys. I had sales calls with my friends. I had sales calls with other coaches. We practiced selling each other. We practiced like giving objections and working on overcoming them. It gives you an opportunity to really be able to, get easy in your conversation about what you sell. You want to deliver the information and your offer with ease, like you've been doing this forever. Here is a few questions that you might think about, and just kind of a real brief way that you might go through a sales conversation. Kind of my guideline I'll share with you. First of all, I have a little bit of time to talk about, hey, where are you? Where are you from? How'd you get started in your business? Tell me that story. And look, people love to talk about themselves. And honestly, I love to hear people's story, how they got started. And then I say, what brought you to the call? Tell me what's happening. And that gives us an opportunity to explore the problem. I love to ask the question like, well, why is this a problem? And if it's been a problem for a long time, it's like, well, why is it a problem now? Why are you coming to me with this right now? Why haven't you been able to solve this? And why do you want to solve it right now? You want to ask them what it's costing them. It depends on what it is. Like if you're a weight loss coach or a health coach or a money coach or whatever it is, what is this problem costing them? What is it taking away from them? Because you want to be able to figure out what you can tell them they're going to gain from working with you. I love to ask this question, and I feel like this sort of sums up everything in one question. If I run into you a year from now and you have had the most amazing year, we're in a coffee shop, we meet each other, and I say, hey, tell me what has been happening for you in the last year. And you give me this story about this most awesome life, this business transformation, this personal transformation, whatever it is, what would you say? That one question is such a great way to find out what your client really wants, what they really desire. Sometimes when you ask them what their goal is, and particularly for me, when I ask people what their goal is, they'll say $100,000. And that answer is completely different than when I would run into you in a coffee shop a year from now and say, oh my gosh, tell me what is going on with you. What has happened in your business? Tell me everything. Like, it's been an amazing year and I want to know all the details. What you would tell me then would be different than I had a goal to make $100,000. Okay, so figure out that one question that really works for you. Then, you guys, you want to figure out how you're going to transition to close. This is important. I like to be able to recap their problem and say, okay, let me make sure I understand this. You need help with this. You've certified now as a coach. You have a website, but you aren't getting any consultations. Am I understanding that right? Whatever that is for you. And then you wait for them to, yes, that's correct, Debbie. That's what's going on. And then I say, is there anything I might be missing? Have I left anything out? Is there anything else you want to add? This, again, is a really important question because when I ask that question, it almost always reveals additional things that they didn't tell me to begin with. Let me just mention now, if you feel as you're having this consultation call that you're starting to sense some objections, then I want you to slow down the call a little bit and I want you to answer the objections ahead of time. So if the person is saying all along, like, I don't have any time, well, I don't have any money, and my husband doesn't agree with what I do, and my kids are, I'm homeschooling my kids, whatever it might be, if you sense that there's going to be some objections that you can answer ahead of time, then you can craft that transition to close in a way that will help you close easier. So if somebody says to you, like, I don't have any time, then your transition to close is going to include how you are going to help them by solving whatever problem it is, and it will free up time for them, right? Maybe they're saying to you, my kids are driving me crazy, and it's like, and you're a parenting coach, it's like, okay, well, here's the good news. If we take this little bit of time, and I know that you feel like you don't have any time, and you're overwhelmed with everything you had to do, but if we take this little bit of time, I'm going to prepare you in a way, you're going to see how to manage things so that it will actually give you more time. That's just one example. Whatever it is for you, think of the objections. Money could be an objection. If somebody starts telling you in advance, like, I don't know that, I don't have a bunch of extra money, especially if you're a money coach, you know that. You're going to have to be saying why investing in you as a coach, potentially going into further debt, is actually going to be a win for them. And I know it would be a win for them because I believe in coaching. So you have to be able to answer that in advance. Let me also say, if somebody has a partner, a spouse, a husband, a wife, whatever it is, and they are going to need to talk to them, which is legitimate, then you need to prep them on what to say. If they say, as you get to the end of the call, I'm going to have to discuss this with my partner, with my wife, with my husband. You say, all right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are the questions they're going to have, and let me prepare you to answer them, answer the questions. That, you guys, has been so helpful for me because so many women that I work with, maybe they don't need permission to get, can I spend the money? But they want to discuss it with their partner. They want to be able to say, here's what's going on and why. And maybe they can't actually articulate the why they need what I have to offer. So this gives me an opportunity to say, well, look, I think you should talk about how much money that you're going to make as a result of our coaching. I think you should talk about how if we get all of your marketing set up and your social media strategy, and I help you learn how to sell and all these things that I'm going to help you do, it's going to actually get you in a position where you have more free time to spend with your family, and you're going to make more money in a much quicker time than you figuring out yourself. That would be the way that I would coach you to present to your partner about why investing with me is important. Like, gosh, Debbie can help me make my money back in no time. Or Debbie's going to help me double or triple my income or double and triple my profit. We work on all those various angles, but you want to be able to help them answer that question. All right, last thing is you have to be able to share your plan of how you're going to work together. When it comes to that part where you're in the close, you have to be able to say, all right, here's what I can do to help you. This is best for you. And you go through the plan that is your offer that fits what they need. And then you explain to them why it takes this time for a transformation, how it's all going to work, and then you share the price. When you share the price, here's the clue. You close your mouth and then you just wait. You should expect objections to come up. Now, for my people on this call that are listening to the podcast that have bought coaching, that have paid for programs, that have spent a bunch of money, you don't have objections. But if you're selling to somebody who has not bought high-ticket coaching, or who has not paid for your service, or who has not had graphic design branding or a website built, and your offer is high, then you're going to get an objection. So just expect it. They don't even know what the price is. And honestly, it's just your brain's job to say, wait a minute, right? You know how that goes. Somebody tells you a price and you might not say it out loud, but there's you start judging, is this good or bad? So expect that and then talk them through it. I always love to ask the question, like, what's coming up for you? I've told you kind of the offer. What are you thinking? What's coming up for you? Let's talk about how I can answer any other questions for you. You can ask them a couple other questions like, what else can I answer for you? Where is there some hesitation? What feels off? Get to the bottom of that. And I just want to offer that when you do that, sometimes you guys, it is one little tiny thing that is off and you can answer it and then you can close the deal. All right, the last part of this that I just want to mention to you, it is super important that you have your next steps in place. For all of this whole authentic sales conversation to work, you've got to know the next step. All right, I'm going to send you an invoice. You have to know how to do that. You have to know how you're going to do the invoice. I actually do the invoice while I'm on the sales consultation call, while I'm in this selling process. I say, let me do your invoice real quick. I have a contract, an agreement. And I say, I'm going to provide you with an agreement that shows what I've promised you. Let's get that taken care of. I do that while we're on the call. I send it to them. I tell them how to sign it. I sign it, you sign it. Then I schedule our first appointment. This is so important, you guys. Do not delay on that. If somebody wants to buy coaching from you right then, you get them on the books immediately. You figure out how to get them in immediately. Maybe it's not going to be their regular appointment. You just get them in the next 48 hours or the next 72 hours. Like I have a new client starting tomorrow, actually, and we have a 2-hour jumpstart session. That is not going to be her regular time, but I didn't want to put her off for a week. I don't want to put her off to where there is time for her to rethink, like, I don't know, maybe I can figure out how to do this on my own. Maybe I don't have time to do it. Maybe I should wait till after the first of the year. Whatever that is, get them on the calendar because this is in service for them. They've come to you They know they need coaching. They've made a good decision. Now it's up to you to get the invoice, the contract, and get them on the schedule. Tell them what the process is and get it wrapped up. All right, I know this was a little bit long today, but I hope that you were able to take some really good nuggets from this. Let me recap it really quickly. 5 areas to investigate when it comes to your discomfort with sales so that you can create an authentic selling method. Number 1, check in with your offer. It's got to be good, you guys. Got to be good for you and good for them. Number 2, make sure that you are talking to your ideal client. Number 3, make sure that you can deliver what you're offering. Number 4, you've got to have pricing that feels good to you. And number 5, you got to have a plan for your sales conversation. All right, I hope you do this. I hope you put this into practice because this will change your business starting today. All right, have an amazing week. I will see you later. Bye-bye. All right, my friends, are you ready to get more clients? Let's go do it. Have an amazing week. And if you guys want that business assessment, I want to help you with your business. DebbieShadid.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT, for a free business assessment. Until next time, bye-bye.